It's the Monday Night Results Show. Just the results, and nothing but the results. From this past weekend's race at your favorite racetracks, if you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, tune into the Disney Channel. And now, the man with a mind for statistics. Unfortunately, those statistics are usually odds on the ponies in Vegas. Mitch, the Dr. Walker.
All right, welcome to Monday Night Results Show for the very first time anywhere. Boyd Speedway, right here at the state line between Georgia and Tennessee. We are going to kick off the show tonight. We have got a lineup that you would not believe. Joining us first up will be Bill Blair, and then we've got a whole slew of guests that are actually all sitting here with me, all looking at me like I got three eyeballs. So we're going to kick it off like we do each and every week with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now if you're not here, you ought to be. We have the simulator out there going. They got the lights on out at the scales. If you're anywhere close to Boyd Speedway, exit 1, I-75, come on out, come in the pit gate, park down there, walk up the hill. We're going to have a big old time here in just a little bit. But joining us first when we come back out of commercial break will be the legendary Bill Blair. We're going to talk with Bill about the big event coming up October the 1st over at Occoneechee Speedway, Orange County Speedway over in Hillsborough, North Carolina. The celebration of the automobile and the racers reunion. The guest of honor this year are going to be the family of Curtis Turner and Ned Jarrett. So we're going to be talking with Bill and finding out some of the things that's going to be going on over there. I got my tickets in the mail the other night to the big shindig they're having at the barn at that evening. So we're gonna kick it off real good when we get over there. But up here at Boyd's, man, over by the concession stand, I can see the big screen is playing Monday Night Football. Kenny Slayton has got the simulator car out there. I've got Gene Dover in here. I've got David Duplissey in here with me. Tommy Gilbert, Josh Walker. The list goes on and on and on. And my number one fan, Davey, is here tonight too. For those of you that seen that the video I posted from Saturday night at Boyd's, man, I'm telling you. And I just heard right now that Bill Blair has his driver's suit on and he is ready to roll. Bill is always ready to lock and load, and man, I tell you what, you just don't beat nobody like Bill Blair. He's a ton of fun and got more stories than Carter's got liver pills. But what we're going to do tonight, we're going to be talking a lot about Boyd Speedway because this is where we're at, where we're hanging out. And we're going to talk with Bill first, then we'll get into a lot of the stuff that's going on here at Boyd Speedway. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to reveal something that you didn't know. But you never can tell. It is the Monday Night Results Show. So we're going to step out, take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to have the man himself, Mr. Bill Blair, is going to be sitting in with us, and we're going to talk to Bill. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
It's the Monday Night Results Show. The name says it all. Now back to your host, the Doctor.
All right, welcome back. Joining us right now, and because I simply love saying the word, without further ado, my buddy, Mr. Bill Blair. Bill, how are we doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great, Mitch.
Man, I tell you what, any day above ground is a good day, isn't it?
Well, it really is. I got the crew here working on the car a little bit loose, going in turn 1 and 3, and we're taking, lowering the panhandle bar on the right rear about an inch and drop the air pressure on the right rear. We got to get a little more bite off the corner.
Well, I tell you what, Bill, what we need to do, we need to get you over here at Boyd's Speedway one weekend and get you in the simulator car, and let's see if you can run as good in the simulator as you can in that Ford of yours.
Well, I'd love to. I've driven a simulator before, and they're a lot of fun, and if you got the right kind, you can sure pick up on it and learn a little bit. It's a lot of fun. Big challenge, you know.
Oh, yeah, man. It's when we got here, I admit I got in it and made a few laps, and I set a pretty quick time, and then everybody that's got in it since then has beat my time, so I'll just sit over here and do my radio thing, and they can play on the simulator.
In other words, you're going to keep your day job.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
My day job is safe. But now, Bill, I know that, we have been talking about this we've previewed it every year for the past 3 years, and this year I'm actually going to make it. Got my tickets, got everything is in place. Occoneechee Speedway, the historic speedway.org group has put together the celebration of the automobile and the racers reunion. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, first let me tell you, historicspeedwaygroup.org. The flyer is printed wrong. But anyway, 10 years ago, there's a group of people there that live at the track in Hillsboro, and it's a historic old place, and it's still there, and the track is still there, the grandstand is still there, and it's in an estate of conglomerates, and they have a home over there that's it dates back probably to 1700s across the river, and Uno River separates them, and there's about 300 people a day come and visit that and walk around that track. It's one of 3 tracks on the historical register of deeds. The first, of course, is Indianapolis and Bonneville Salt Flats, and then the Hillsboro Occoneechee track. These guys got together and approached the people who owned it about restoring it and having an event there each year to honor the early day drivers and Bill France and stock car racing in general. And they all agreed that it would be a great idea to preserve the history. And, of course, that's what you're about in talking about the history and preserving it for others in the future, so we'll know what happened back in the day, how stock car racing got started. And this is what the event is about. And these guys formed an organization. It's really a business that they run to do this each year. And it's called the Celebration of the Automobile Racers Reunion and Car Show at the Occoneechee Orange Speedway. And this will be their 10th year. And they have been working now for about, I guess, all year, really, and especially in the past 3 or 4 months. They've been grooming the grounds, mowing and trimming, and you can actually drive a car around that track, which they're going to have parade laps of the old race cars. And I want to mention to all the folks out there, the show is free. It doesn't cost you a thing to come in there. There's plenty of parking. There'll be people wearing orange shirts to help you. There'll be shuttle. There'll be handicap facilities. And they also have an open car show. The car show, however, is $25. The first 200 get dash plaques, and they're special dash plaques honoring the Occoneechee Hillsboro racetrack. And it's just going to be probably one of the biggest shows ever, and right now it's traditionally been the biggest race show in existence. And last year, Mitch, they had I believe it was 129 actual race cars, old race cars, many of them that raced down at Occoneechee. And there'll be more this year. We got one guy coming to Lower Georgia from there, bringing 5 race cars. I'm talking about from 39 flathead Fords that one of them belonged to Gilbert Soulsby. He was one of the early race drivers, one down at Daytona on the beach 3 different times. And, of course, there'll be a lot of cars like that there, and they'll be making parade laps right after lunch there around that track. And the grandstands, the people will be able to come off of the show field and the field in general where all the activities take place with the vendors and all. They'll be coming down, sitting in the grandstand, and they'll introduce all the guests, special drivers, and they can then sit back and watch the cars go around the track, and occasionally they'll let a fan ride with them in some of the cars that's equipped with a seat on the right-hand side. And they don't let women hop in the cars because, a woman wants to tell you how to drive. And my problem is my wife's a better driver than I am, so I don't have a problem with that. But last 2 years...
Now, Bill, your wife's a whole lot better looking than you are, too.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah. I married up, I guess you might say.
Yes,
but,
sir. You should. Now,
I'll tell you something.
Now, Bill, you mentioned Gilbert Soulsby. Now, I can't. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everybody where the Soulsby family hail from.
Well, they right outside of Dawsonville.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yeah.
Just across the hill from us here.
Yeah. Of course, David Soulsby's still there running. I guess hauling gravel and dirt, and he's still there working every day. And we'd love for him to come up. He's been here before, him and Eddie Samples. Eddie's daddy was 1946 stock car champion, and Eddie's been there before and trying to get him to come up and enjoy the celebration.
Well, I might just have to go by there and kidnap him. I mean, I know some of them Soulsbys over there, some of them's pretty mean, so I might not kidnap him, but if he wants to ride up with me, I got an extra seat.
Well, bring him on. He would enjoy it. I tell you, the fan out there that likes early day racing and wants to know how it happened, he can talk firsthand to some of the people that were there. He or she can, and they can get firsthand information how stock car racing really started back in the 40s. And you've got people like Rex White to be there, Reb Wickersham, and Paul Lewis, and Brownie King, many others from that era.
It's really, Bill, it's really a list of who's who is the founding fathers of NASCAR, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And then, some of the crew members from that era will be there, car owners. But, Mitch, we're losing these people every day. And while the fan can come and enjoy it and meet these people, it'd be good to do it now, because another 5-10 years they're all going to be gone.
Well, you know, Bill, we talked about this before. I think one of the things that that really has inspired me is I watched a bunch of videos that you have done with different drivers, and the one that really stuck out was the one you done with Jack Tant, and talking about the 4-barrel carburetor, and just kind of reliving the old moments of history, and sharing these stories and preserving them for prosperity so that the younger generations can learn about them in the coming years.
Well, 2 years ago, Jack brought the carburetor that he built, the 2.2s that he made into one, and brought the special truck that he restored that he used to tow those race cars for years. And Jack Tant will be there this year, and you know, Jack Tant's one of the greatest engine builders ever, and other engine builders that'll be there, of course, Lou LaRosa, 4-time NASCAR champion engine builder. Waddell Wilson's been there. Hope he'll come this year. But I mean, just so many celebrities and people that we look up to, and our heroes will be there. Ned Jarrett, we look forward to having him. And I want to mention that the show will probably wind down around 4 o'clock, but just a few blocks from there's a building they call the Barn. It'll seat 300 people, and this will be the first year they're going to have a banquet. It's going to be called Trading Paint, and that banquet will start at 6, and it is catered. It's $25 for a pit pass. Now, we're using a pit pass for a ticket to get in. It looks like the old early day NASCAR type pit pass, and they're all numbered. But we're holding back a number of them just for guests who want to, and fans who want to come and see this. They'll have their social hour from 6 to 7, the drinks and all. You can get tea, Coke, wine, and all they ask is a contribution, and all these contributions will go towards the preservation of the historic Speedway. That's how they keep it up, and then they sell yearbooks. It's got all the pictures of the drivers. It's in color. It's rather thick. I'd guess there's 100 pages or so in it, but it's sort of like a collector's item. And that's how they raise money to preserve this racetrack. And then they'll serve, it's catered. It'll be served at 7. It'll be baked chicken, breaded beef. You'll have your salad. You'll have your vegetables, dessert. And they've used these people before. It's excellent food. After the dinner, then they will introduce some guests, and then they'll call, they honor Curtis Turner, and they'll call his wife, ex-wife, and his daughter, Margaret Sue Turner, and Bunny Turner Hall, and to talk a little bit about Curtis's day of racing there to Hillsboro, and present them a couple of plaques. And then after that, they'll introduce Ned Jarrett, and Ned will tell us a little bit about his history down at the Occoneechee Speedway. And then with some of the other drivers there that raced at the old Hillsboro Occoneechee track, the audience will be asking a few questions about how racing used to be. You can get a lot of information talking to them firsthand, and they'll have a period of time for that. Then afterwards, it'll start winding down around 9 o'clock, and Erwin Brooks and Harlow Reynolds, they're bluegrass guys. They're going to wind it up by playing us some beautiful bluegrass music, and it'll probably wind down around 10 o'clock. But it'll be a good afternoon and evening for the fans to come and enjoy the drivers and the people and the group there at the Speedway who's worked real hard in getting this program put together. The car show, Mitch, is an open car show. The first 200 to get free dash plaques, and it's a judged show. The Performance Pontiacs of the Carolina are the people that are judging it. They're really a good group and professionals to be able to judge your car adequately. And remember, it is an open car show. And the car show, they'll start resting probably around 7. a.m. The show itself, I think they keep it open if you want to come. It's $25 to enter a car, and I think they take entries up to about 12 o'clock, and then they'll do the awards at 3 p.m. And they have a big old tent with your speaker system so everyone can hear across the field. You'll have Benny Huff. Uncle Benny will be there playing music for the car show enthusiasts, and he'll be involved in passing out the awards and announcements for the car show people.
Hey, Bill.
They're going to find
Bill.
it's really well organized. Some of the they have a best of show, by the way, but some of the classes is like top 50 classic 1900, 1979, top 10 late models 1980 and up, top 3 motorcycles plus other awards. And I mentioned a while ago, first 200 entries receive a dash plaque. Then there'll be another special Hillsborough award that someone like Rex White, NASCAR Hall of Fame champion, will go out across the field and select a car, and he will pick a car, and there'll be a special award for that. I think it's going to be one of the best events ever in this part of the country.
Well, I agree, Bill. I'll tell you what, we're going to jump out, take a real quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'll let you finish telling about the car show, and we'll wrap this up because we got a bunch of other stuff we got to get to tonight, but I always make room for you, Bill. So sit tight. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, and my special guest, Mr. Bill Blair, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today.
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Results? We got your results right here. It's the Monday Night Results Show with the doctor, exclusively on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com.
All right, welcome back. It's the Monday Night Results Show. Now, Bill, I know we kind of held you over, and I wanted to give you just a little bit of time, let everybody know that next week, next Monday night, we're going to have you on the show again, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other guests that are going to be coming on as well, right?
That's correct, Mitch. And for your other guests tonight, I just want to call to your attention. I cannot hear you. I can hear your commercials, but one thing I did want to mention, this event is Saturday, October the 1st from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And for more information or you want to order a ticket, remember the show itself is free, and the banquet, of course, is $25, and it's catered, and it's for the banquet to help raise funds for the Historic Speedway Group. And you can go online to get information or order a ticket at www.historicspeedwaygroup.org.
All right, Bill. Thanks so much, and we'll get you back on next week. And you keep that forward going over here, all right?
Well, yeah, okay. You come up one day and give me a little help.
All right, we'll do it, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bill Blair talking about the Occoneechee, the celebration of the Automobile Racers Reunion. But now, for the first time ever, and I'm going to have to get him a plaque because I don't think I've ever done this before. Joining me on the show right now live and actually sitting next to me is David Duplissey, driver of the D2. Let me see. We got driver of the D2. We got racetrack owner, business owner, motorcycle rider. Is there anything I've left out?
Deer hunting.
Deer hunter. Okay. Yeah. David, one thing I want to ask you right off the rip. What got you started in auto racing?
Well, when I was a kid, grew up in Louisiana, there was a lot of dirt tracks around the house, and my father used to help pit with a guy, and so I grew up around dirt racing when I was up to about 12 years old. And then we moved off. I started to work, got a career, got a family. I've always been interested in dirt track racing, and I've always been a fan. And, I finally got to the time in my life where I had the means and the time to do it. And I went to the Dale McDowell driving school, and there was a guy that I was sponsoring here in town. His name was Steve Gilbert. He had a car, and I told him, I said, I'll sponsor your car if you'll let me drive that car one day. So after I'd done sponsored the car, and I'd been following him around for about 6 months for different tracks, I finally cornered him. I said, when are you going to let me drive that car? And he said, you really want to drive that car? I said, that was the deal, dude. And so he said, well, I'll let you drive it, but first of all, I want you to go to this driving school. So we come over here, and he introduced me to Dale, and I did the whole day, the personal driving school, and the heck with driving Steve's car. I went and bought my own.
It was over then, wasn't it?
I was hooked, yeah.
Well, they say that there is no drug like racing. And the
man.
thing about racing is if you want to keep your kids out of trouble, get them involved in racing, because once they get involved in racing, they sure enough won't have no money left for drugs.
Or anything else. No, it's the racing career. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years now. We've owned the track for about 3 years now. I've really met some really nice people. There's a lot of passion in this sport. I'm a little worried that, the sport is kind of gone downhill. Everybody's seen the attendance at NASCAR events. But I think we need to start with the grassroots of racing, this dirt track, and get everybody involved again, get the local people, make it a family-oriented sport. That to me is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help save the dirt racing sport.
Well, David, you look back, and I don't know if you know this or not, but the first night that I come up here and announced back a couple of months ago, I was sitting up there topside, and I was sitting there looking out the window, and I looked down here at the infield, and I had one of those epiphanies, one of them major brain convulsions.
Yeah.
And I remembered that it was 51 years ago I went to my very first race.
Wow.
And it was right here at Boyd Speedway, 51 years ago. And right down there, between here and the back pit gate, I met Bobby Allison. Bobby Allison was racing here that night, and he come walking by. He knelt down beside me, and that's the thing that got me hooked. Was he didn't just lean over and ruffle my hair. He didn't wave at me as he walked by. He stopped and knelt down and said, "Hey there, young man, you come to see some racing?" And of course, I was awestruck. I just stood there with my mouth gaping open, catching flies. He ruffled my hair, and I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, I think you're going to see it tonight." And he shook my hand. And he said, "You make sure you root for me, all right?" Well, him telling me to root for him, that worked pretty good because I rooted for him for about 30 years. And that is what got me hooked. And then to be able to come back up here 50-something years later and to see the improvements that you guys have made here, you have made this, they used to say Dale Sr.'s shop was the Taj Mahal of racing. Well, this is the Taj Mahal of dirt track racing. I have been to over 285 racetracks in my career, and this is by far one of the nicest racetracks that I have ever been to. So a tip of the hat to you for what you've done. And I know it's not just you. There's a whole team of people that are involved. And the secret to success is not what you do, but surrounding yourself with people who can do what you can't. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Any business, whether it be construction or, residential housing or whatever, you're no better than the people you surround yourself with. And I learned a long time ago that's the key to success. So when we started here, Dale, of course, Dale McDowell, he was a partner with me. And Dale's reputation, Dale's skill level of driving a car, it went a long way with helping the publicity, helping us get started with the revitalization of this track. We've done a lot. The new concession stands, the new air-conditioned restrooms, the suites.
Now let me stop you right there. You said something that I have not seen at any other racetrack: air-conditioned restrooms at a dirt track. Now, I want everybody, all the listeners, I want you to stop and think about that for a minute. Remember last Saturday night when you were sitting there in a stand, you says, "Man, I gotta run to the little boys' room," and you run down there and you take a real deep breath and you run inside, you go to the bathroom, and then you run outside, and then you breathe again because it's so stinking hot in there. We don't have that problem here at Boyd Speedway because our bathrooms are air conditioned. Yes, you heard that right, air conditioned.
I can tell you a few places that stepped up that are that good, but we just trying to make it a facility that family friendly is what I keep trying to get back to. We try to do things for the kids. We've had the little bicycle races and the Coleman Toss and all the things like that. And we enjoy. There's nothing better than when you're standing up there watching a race and somebody comes by and say, "I want to thank you for what you've done, the facility, the events, helping the track survive." That goes a long way with me. That's a proud moment for me when somebody comes by and says that. My driving career, it ain't on the best. I'm 61 years old. It's a heck of a time to be starting a dirt racing career.
Well, the thing about it is, though, it just goes to prove, David, that you're never too old to chase your dreams.
Well,
and,
yeah.
There's a lot of young people out here who have dreams that are just starting. You chased your dream a long time before you fulfilled it. And, you know, there's a lot of these young people that are out here, like this little young man that's running around here right now.
Yeah.
His name's Davey. He was here Saturday night. And we were down there. I was down there talking, and we had Nicole Cowan come down here, and she done the lip sync to the Journey song.
Right.
Okay, this girl the song's twice as old as she is, and she knew the words to it all the way through, which impressed the fire out of me. But we're down there, and I tell this young man, you know, we're just standing there, and I offered to foot race one of the fans. And he's a pretty good sized fella. And I figured I was picking on the easy ones, you know. I mean, it's slim pickings. So I was trying to get me an easy win. And he said, no, I'm not racing. Well, this little young man come running up. He said, I'll race you. And then he proceeded to beat the brakes off of me.
And then you know what he said?
What?
He said, I had on my boots. I didn't have on my tennis shoes. I'd beat him better.
Well, I'm glad he had on his boots. We're going to have to weight him down next time. But, you know, it's that kind of involvement, spending time with the kids and getting them excited about it and getting them to come out to the races. That's one of the goals that I have, both as an announcer and hosting a radio show, is to bring the younger generation into racing. Like when me and you and Gene Dover, who we'll have on here in just a little bit, and Greg Tinker, who's standing over there. When we were all younger, we were all gearheads. You know, I mean, it was a passion. And now you don't have as much of that in the younger people that we had when we were kids. So we have to find a different way to get them involved. And like the simulator car, I think that's one of the best things to come along as far as drawing in younger people, because it combines real racing and it combines video games. And it's a combination of the two that brings in the program to, you know, kind of pack it all together and give them something that they can get involved in because they understand the video game, but it also gets them hooked on racing.
I got two boys that help me at the house that are 15 and 16 years old. One of them don't even have his driver's license yet. And during the summer, they come over and work, you know, 5 days a week. But once school started, they just come over in the afternoon, so they come by 3 afternoons. And I've been teaching these guys how to work on a race car. And so, you know, I'm trying to give back. And these boys are interested in racing. They're already talking about wanting their own cars and stuff like that. And so, you know, we tried to spend a little time with them. I mean, first thing we did was teach them how to wash a car properly. And as you're washing it, you know, if you see oil running down this shot, bring it to my attention. If you see oil under here, you know, so now they've got into the mode where they're packing bearings and they're doing things. And it, you know, those two boys are gonna be involved in dirt racing, no doubt in my mind. And that's what it takes. When you walk around the pits out here on a race night, you'd be surprised at how many young kids you see running around out here in the pits.
That's right.
That are with their parents, that are out here, that are deep in it. I mean, really involved in it. Saturday night, we was pitted beside a car, and he had 3 little boys there. They had the big old yellow Tonka trucks, and they was running around, racing around his car with these big old Tonka trucks. And I mean, these kids, I mean, you know,
they almost run us over in the fun bus.
That's right.
Me and Gene come by there in the fun bus, and we'll be talking about the fun bus in just a little bit. And I stepped off the bus and I looked, and the little boy looked up at me like, "Hey man, you're in my way.
You're on my track.
You're on my track." Yeah. And I had to tell him real quick that it wasn't me that was driving, it was Gene. Gene's the one that was driving. I blamed it on Gene. But yeah, you're right. You know, seeing the young people and seeing them get excited about it and seeing them get involved in it, that gives me hope for the future for the sport, don't it, you?
It does, me too. And you know, really, you know, we work with the RCR Driver Development Program here at Boyd's, and we've seen a lot of young kids come through here. I mean, we've got 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids driving these crate cars that are winning races.
Yeah.
I mean, and people think, you know, that's crazy for a 12, 13-year-old kid. But, hey, they don't have no fear. They have all the talent in the world. They've raced on video games and all that stuff, you know, most of their life already.
You look at Cruz Skinner, Will Rowland.
That's right.
Anna
Parkhurst. Wally Dallenbach.
Wally
Katie Dallenbach, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the list goes on, and they just keep getting younger and younger, and me and you keep geting older and older. What's up with that?
It really makes me mad when a 13-year-old passes me out on the racetrack.
Well, you know, I mean, it is what it is, though, David. But I think you guys have made a mark in dirt track racing here at Boyd's that it's going to stand for a long time. You've raised the bar on so many different levels, and I think that by bringing the involvement that you have with the kids and some of the things that me and Kenny have talked about for next year, some of the things that we would really like to see come in, you know, be a part of it. I think those things are moving in the right direction, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we've tried a lot of things. You know, we did the monster truck race. We did a concert here. We've done other things. And really what I was trying to do was just get people in town that didn't even know there was a racetrack here. If I could get them to come over here for a monster truck race, or if I could get them to come over here and show up for a concert, and then them see the facility and see how nice it is, and maybe they would then say, hey, we need to go back over and watch a race one week.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we've tried and we've done a little bit of everything. And, you know, the social media today is so important in advertising. You know, we spend a lot of money on TV and commercials and radio spots and, you know, airtime, but it seems to me like the social media seems to be the best advertisement that we have so far.
The best bang for your buck.
Well, you know, when we have the big events like the Lucas Oil or, you know, the big events like that, naturally we do some TV and airtime. But, I mean, the word of mouth, the people, I mean, it just warms your heart when you have people come up to you and say, you know, I've been racing down at Dixie and in Atlanta all those years, and we come up here and, wow, this is, you know, I'm coming back to this facility, and that means a lot to me, you know.
And you know, it surprises me. I do a lot of work in this area. It surprises me the number of people who have lived in Chattanooga in this area all their lives and don't even know that there's a dirt track here. Now, they know there's a Bass Pro Shops across the street, but they don't know that there's a racetrack here. And I think that some of the work that you guys have done here and some of the things that we plan for the future are going to make everybody aware that there is a racetrack here, and it's called Boyd Speedway.
And I hope that the people enjoy it. You know, we've done stuff like the chemicals in the water to keep the dust down. You know, we try to keep the track moist so that it's not a mud-slinging, dusty dust bowl. I mean, we try to make it orientated to the fans more. I don't know what else to say. We're proud of our facility. We're proud of the people that come here and race. You know, the track is kind of unique in the fact that it's right on the state line. The pits of the track, where the cars and all the big haulers and all set, is actually in Tennessee. But the racetrack itself is in Georgia. It used to be called State Line, but you know, now it's still Boyd's. But it's real easy to find. It's less than a half a block off the interstate. It's right behind the Camping World, right here on 41 in East Ridge. We welcome and we challenge everybody to come. I guarantee you that it'll be an adventure that you won't regret.
There you go. Well, I tell you what, Dave, we're going to step out here. We're going to get old Gene Dover over here in just a little bit, and we might sneak and grab one of these other drivers coming around here. But thank you so much, and look forward to some of the things we got coming up at Boyd Speedway, and be well looking for that D2 car out there.
Maybe one of these days I'll put it in victory lane here.
All right. Thank you. David Duplissey, driver of the D2, owner of Boyd Speedway, and my boss on Saturday nights now. All right, we're going to step out for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking with the man himself, Mr. Gene Dover, driver of the Fun Bus. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Monday Night's Results Show, the internet radio show that gives you the results from your favorite racetracks. And that's it! If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on ESPN. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. And one of the things that the modern technology brings us today is Facebook Live. And we've never done Facebook Live before. But now, if you go to my Facebook page, you will see that I am shooting live from right here at Boyd Speedway. We are in the simulator building, and this is the first live crowd that we've ever had for the Monday Night Results Show. Now, see, I'll show you everything but me. I got a face for radio. But joining us right now, it is the man himself, Mr. Gene Dover. Gene, this is kind of like bluegrass here, buddy. You got to lean in a little bit. We only got one microphone, but I will share it. Now, Gene, you have worked on probably more race cars around here than just about anybody I know. How did you get started in racing?
Well, my dad, he started back when I was probably, 4 or 5 years old, as early as I can remember it, helping Dale McDowell's dad. That's how I met Dale. And me and Dale's been running together ever since.
Well, now, what year was that? I don't want to date you now, but I mean...
Dale started racing in 1980. I think he was 14. And I raced for a couple of weeks, and he turned 15, won his first race when he was 15.
So now, when you first started, racing was a whole lot different then than it is now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's a big difference.
One of the things that I think is one of the big differences that I've seen has been the equipment. Now, used to, when you would go to build a race car, you'd have to go find you an old frame or something to start with, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you had to just about make everything. But, there was some stuff you bought, upper and lower control arms, stuff like that, but you had to modify them, make them tougher and everything. Now, it's, a lot of it's store-bought. Most of it is anyway. A lot big different than it used to be.
But do you think that when you look at the history of racing, say from your eyes, and you look at the cars that you used to build, and you look at the cars today, and you look at the safety of them from a driver's standpoint, these cars have improved dramatically, haven't they?
Yeah, I can remember people, they build a car and they take exhaust pipe to build roll bars out of. None of that goes on nowadays.
Now, I know that there is a car that is sitting down at the Georgia Motorsports Hall of Fame over in Dawsonville that has a airplane seat. as the driver's seat. Seats have come a long way. We had Randy LaJoy on the show a couple of months back talking about the advent of safety in the seats. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, because you probably built a whole lot more of these cars than I have and been involved in that aspect of it. When you put a driver in a race car, you look at the drivers that we have. You take drivers, say like Chase Youngman. He's 6'7", 6'8", and then you take drivers like Kyle Courtney, who's like 5'4". You know, dealing with the different size drivers in a race car, it's a challenge, isn't it, from a builder's standpoint?
Yeah, you can just go ahead and build them for a big guy. It's easier to get a big guy and get it built around him than you can get the little guy in there. That's the way you need to do it instead of the other way around.
Well, I mean, you know, because I've seen some of these dwarf cars and the Legends cars, you know, they're a 5/8 scale car, and to get my fat butt in one, it takes about 2 pounds of butter.
There you go.
But now, you know, Gene, when we go back and we look at the advent of safety, you look at the Hans device, you look at the containment seats, the belts, and the helmets. You know, we've seen a lot of drivers that have been injured this year, and we've lost a couple of drivers this year. Shane Unger was one of them. But you know, when you look back, the speed. Do you feel the speed is part of it, or do you think it's just
speed,
nature catching up with us?
Speed's part of it. We're running a lot faster. Track records are being broke every week. Austin Dillon has got the track record here. You know, I mean, these guys are flying. But, you know, your drivers has got to step up at this point, too. You got to make sure you got your seats mounted right, the right seat mounted, and have your cars ready where something don't fall off and cause crashes to begin with. You know what I mean? Have your ducks in a row. That's the main thing.
Well, you know, I talked with Jeff Smith, who took a wild ride up the road up at I-75 last year and wound up breaking his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he mentioned was the way that he had his seat mounted. It contributed to a lot to his injury. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that a lot of your up-and-coming drivers don't really understand is how important little things like seat mounting, how important belt mounts, how important the tabs are that your belts are mounted to. I mean, some of the things that you see, you know, if you walk through and you do a safety inspection on some of these cars, some of the things you see, it's funnier than people at Walmart.
Right.
You know, we seen a guy at a racetrack down the road a little ways a couple of years ago show up with the gas can out of an outboard motor, like for a gas can that you pump up, you know, to power an outboard motor.
Right.
That's what he had with bungee straps in place of his fuel cell. And it's like, man, don't even unload that. You know, we do not want that kind of race car here. You have to have that kind of an approach. You've got to be proactive about safety instead of reactive. You know, when you get reactive, I think that you find that you make a lot of mistakes, you know, because everything's just a knee-jerk reaction. Instead of being proactive and taking an approach to it to where we're going to deal with this before it becomes a problem rather than deal with it after it is a problem. And I think that's one of the things about racing that I've noticed in the past 5 or 6 years is you're starting to see more people slowly but surely take that approach.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to do something right. You know what I mean? But it's forever when something goes bad.
Yeah. There is so much that people sitting in the stands don't understand or don't realize the amount of work that goes into a race car to get it to the racetrack each and every week. I mean, we got Josh Walker and Tommy Gilbert, Glenn Grimsley standing out there, Greg Tinker. These are drivers who normally are on a Monday night are actually working on race cars, but they decided to come down here and hang out with us just because we're cool, you know, and it's cool to be on the Monday Night Results Show. But people don't understand the work that these guys put into these cars, do they?
No, these guys that you just named off, you know, today, yesterday, mostly Monday is wash day. And these guys you just called out probably have already washed their cars.
Well, you know, I think one of the things that people in the grandstands don't see is some of the things that we'll be talking. We're going to get Kenny Slayton on here in a little bit and talk about some of the cost that is associated with swinging the gates on a racetrack. But one of the things that me and you were talking about, safety-wise, from these guys who are weekend warriors, you know, who may not race for a living, but they put everything they got into their race cars. The safety that these guys are slowly but surely starting to filter in. I talked to a young man last night who was talking about the cost of safety. And he said, man, it's hard on a poor boy to afford a new helmet or a new seat. And I said, well, can you afford not to? And, you know.
Well, that's like head restraints on these full containment seats. Anybody can build a head restraint and bolt it to the seat. A left side head restraint and a right side head restraint. And some of these bigger guys, like this Shane Unger, he couldn't get in a car like that. Put it on a hinge with a pin, pull the pin, move the head restraint out of the way. If you get in a crash and you got to go out the right side, have it on a hinge and a pin, unpin it, and go out the right side. You know, you can build anything you want to.
But the thing is, you've got to have that thought process of thinking outside the box.
Right.
Rather than just go down and buy Joe Blow the Ragman seat, you know, hey, this is what I've got, this is what I've got to work with. Be able to look beyond that and think, well, hey, how can I improve this? You know, it's all back to inventing. You don't reinvent the wheel, you just make it a little bit wider.
That's right. Just think about it a few minutes. It's nothing to this stuff. It's easy. It's just the guys that are successful at it have been doing it for 30 years. That's the difference.
And you know, one of the things that has impressed me about dirt track racing over the years is a lot of your guys who have been doing it for 30 or 40 years will oftentimes sit back when they see a younger driver coming up. They will take them under their wing and mentor them and say, hey, look, you know, I know what you're going through, been there, done that, but here is a different way to do that. You know, they'll take these guys and kind of guide them along. And I think that you see that more in dirt racing than you do in any other form of racing. And that's one of the things why dirt is so important to me, is the family, the camaraderie that you have in dirt racing that you don't have in anything else.
It's our duty to take care of kids. It's like a church. You got a church, no kids in it, it's a dying church.
That's right.
It's the same thing at a racetrack. No kids, it won't last long.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think with some of the things that we've seen here at Boyd's this year, some of the things that I get a kick out of is getting out there and playing with them, you know, and just having fun, doing autograph sessions, spending time, getting the drivers to come up and press the flesh, so to speak, with the fans and meet them face to face. Because it's one thing to see a driver out there in a race car, okay? A lot of people know the lock dock car, the number 16 car. Everybody knows that's Josh Walker.
Mm-hmm.
But how many people know what Josh Walker looks like? Not very many, thank the Lord. But I can only say that because he's sitting here and me and him share the same last name. But, you know, we need to get these drivers out and in front of the fans in a personal sense, not just in a race car. You know, you take Greg Tinker over there. He's not real pretty, but he's a personable guy. and I've watched him at autograph sessions. Glenn Grimsley, too. Both of them are champions in their own right. I have watched them at autograph sessions get out there, and I think, you know, these kids are going to love getting these drivers' autographs.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing is, these drivers have more fun at autograph sessions than the kids do.
Oh, shoot. I love to see a kid have a good time. Love it.
Man, it's just, you see the sparkle in the kids' eyes, and then you turn around, you look, and you see the sparkle in the driver's eyes, and then the second one you have, all the drivers are bringing suckers and T-shirts and giving stuff away and getting involved with the kids. That's what makes racing so much fun, and that's what attracts new fans.
That's right. That's right.
I think one of the things that gets me is, you know, each and every week you go to the races, I stand up there in the tower announcing, and I look out over the fans, and, you know, the average age is probably about, I think it's 36 to 38. I think it's what the average age demographically is for a dirt track. But we need to get that down. We need to get more kids involved. And whether it be through churches or through schools, we have taken race cars to my son's school. Took that down there, let the kids come out and line up and look at the cars and see them and listen to them. And man, those kids talked about that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you know, as a parent myself, I know that I get so tired of hearing about a particular movie or a particular toy that eventually I go buy it for them, you know, because I'm tired of listening to it. Well, if we can get that same kind of passion in the kids to where they're that passionate about racing, the kids are going to drag mom and daddy to the racetracks.
That's right.
You know, we have a parent walking around out here in the parking lot now who, her son, who was here the other night, he loves racing, and he wanted to come. So he come home, done his homework early, got all his chores done, boom, his mama brings him to the racetrack. It can serve as a reward for parents, don't you agree?
I agree. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said a while ago, you don't have any kids, we've got a problem. And like when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, me and Dale's out here, and all my friends were out here. Everybody I knew was here. We were all teenagers. Cars, and it's not that way anymore. I'm not sure what we need to do to change that, but we need to change it.
I think we do, and I think that by bringing kids in, by getting kids involved, you know, there's probably a million different ways that we can do it. We just need to look at some ways that are feasible and ways that we can get more kids in here, whether it's going to the schools, going to churches, going to boys clubs. You know, we got to get the average age that sits in the stands every Saturday night. We've got to get that age down a little bit in order to further our sport and to keep it going.
I agree.
Well, you know, Gene, I tell you what, we're getting ready to get up against the commercial break, and I thank you for coming on and hanging out with me. You're my second live guest ever on the Monday Night Results Show. I'm gonna have to get Duplissey a plaque. You know, I mean, go up there with all, because he ain't got no trophies from racing yet.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna have to get him a plaque. You know, that he was the very first live guest on the show. But there's something about it that sitting and having the kids and the families work together, like David said, you know, make it a family-friendly environment, somewhere where you're not scared to bring your kids because you're not going to see a knockdown, drag-out brawl, where you're not going to have a bunch of drunks hanging out, something that is family-friendly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that we have to give Boyd's a tip of the hat.
That's right. Dave and Dale, they have worked real hard to make it that way.
And I think that next year we'll keep that going, and we'll keep it pointed in that right direction. So, man, I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to getting up there on the microphone some more and getting down in the field, in the front of the fans, and having fun.
Well, you've done a good job. I hope you'll be here next year.
Well, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, and I think they got the drain
fixed. Well, it might rise out here. You got to be careful.
If you don't know where Boyd Speedway's at, it's real easy. I-75 right at the Tennessee-Georgia state line, like David said a while ago. The pits are in Tennessee, the racetrack's in Georgia, and the concession stand with the Monday night football game is right there just about on the state line, pretty close to it. Don't know who's playing in the football game. Don't really care because I ain't figure out how many laps they run. But, all right, Gene, tell you what, we're going to jump out of here, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, who knows? We may reach over here into the well and see who we can pull out. May pull out. Never can tell. It'll be a surprise. Don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, my special guest, Gene Dover, and everybody else live from Boyd Speedway right here exclusively on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father. My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Covering the entire field from the back markers to the race winner every weekend. It's the Monday Night Results Show, the internet's only racing results show. Now back to the doctor.
All right, welcome back. It is the Monday Night Results Show, live for the very first time from Boyd Speedway. Joining me right now, I'm a young man we were just teasing and talking about a while ago, driver of the number 16 Lock Dock sponsored car, Mr. Josh Walker. Josh, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Feels pretty good out here outside instead of sitting in the house.
Oh, it does. It does. It's a lot different. I mean, I'm not used to having people looking at me, while we're doing the show, but I do dress differently too for the show, but it's fun to get out here and kind of broaden our horizons. Got the simulator car out there jumping up and down, people driving it. Over there at the concession stand, got the football game going on, and it's kind of different to look out there and see the racetrack dark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to look outside and actually see the racetrack. The scenery's good until you look over there at Tommy Gilbert, and then you don't know what you're looking at.
We'll get him on here in just a little bit, because I was picking on him there a while ago talking about seats. Now Josh, I know that at the level you're racing at, you have been racing for a few years now, and I'm sure you have seen in just your short time a progression in safety. And do you feel safer in a race car today than you did the first day you got in one?
Yeah, I do. The first car I had was a pony car, and it had been sitting for a while, and I wanted to race so bad I couldn't stand it and didn't really look at it, and went out there and got to racing, and the more I thought about it, the more I didn't want to be in it. So we got out of it, and first time I felt safe in the car, Gene Dover actually built it, and there was one thing I didn't like, and it happened to break, and we changed it, and I ain't had a problem since. So.
Well, now, you look at some of the advents of safety equipment over the years. One of the things that I seen the first part of this year, and I haven't seen hardly anybody using it, is a little airbag that goes in the top of your helmet. And paramedics say that one of the key injuries that drivers suffer is when they've been upside down or they've taken a hard impact into the wall when they take their helmets off. Because in order for a helmet to fit right, it has to be a little bit tight. You can't have it loose on there. Well, that initial pull on the helmet, because there's no way to hold the head while you pull the helmet because the helmet's protecting it. Well, they've come up with this little airbag. It's like a little bladder, and the tail of it hangs out the back of your helmet. It's glued into the top of your helmet. The paramedics can hook up one of the little things like they pump up a blood pressure cuff with. They pump that up, and it pushes the helmet off your head instead of pulling it off your head. It's little bitty things like that, the combination of things that makes a driver safer, because the name of the game is we want the drivers to go home in the same condition that they come to the racetrack in, with all their fingers working, all their toes working, nothing crispy crittered. We want you to go home safe and sound so that you can come back the next week. And, when you look at it from a driver's standpoint, you got to look at you have a duty, not as just a race car driver, But, there's a lot of kids out there that look up to race car drivers,
Right.
even good ones. Some drivers are not as good as others, but each driver has their own little group of fans, and these kids look up and they admire these drivers. And drivers need to take that responsibility and be proactive about safety. And make sure that all your belts are right, your seat is mounted right. Like Gene was talking about. Make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, and that you have the best equipment that you can get to put you in a safe spot so that you can go home the same way you come back.
That's right. Say last year I had a pretty gnarly wreck at Cleveland where my steering shaft actually come off the rack and I hit the wall head on. And I had a Kirky seat, but it wasn't a full containment headrest seat. And the headrest actually shoved to the right at a straight angle, instead of a 90-degree angle, it was straight. And after that, I never did get back in a race car without a full containment seat because it rattled my cage pretty good.
Now you see, you look at that action there. You said that you had to have something happen first. One of the things that I would like to see more drivers do, and I'm not picking on you when I say this, but be more proactive. Look for things that you can do to improve your driver safety. Because, when I go home at night, nothing makes me happier than picking up that little red-headed 2-year-old and listening to him go, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," or giving my wife a big hug. That bond that you have with your family, being able to do that with them is something that, and they're giving Josh a hard time over here, but being able to use your fingers, use your hands,
Right.
and be protected. Do you race with gloves?
No, I don't. And I know that's a
Hand me a big stick.
Yeah, I know, and knocked me over the head with it. I understand.
We're going to.
But it's like what David said earlier. The young kids, we all think we're stealth. I'm not as young as what I used to be. I'm 25 now, which is still young compared to Gene and David and Greg
Duplissey
over
got
here.
socks older than you
Yeah,
are.
right.
Okay.
But it like David said, we all think we're stealth out here, and we don't think we're going to get hurt, and it's liable to happen at any point in time. And I agree, we need to take proactive stuff on the safety and whatnot. And
So what you're telling me is that next time the lock dock number 16 rolls out here, when I sit up there in the tower and I pull my binoculars out and I look down there, I'm going to see gloves on your hands, right?
you might.
No. Come on, I'm going to put you on the spot.
You will. I got some. I just don't wear them because they're uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm going to get me some better.
Well, I'm going to talk to the man that works the back gate over there.
Are you?
And I'm going to have him send you to the pits.
It's a
every
good
time.
thing me and him are good buddies.
Yeah,
Then.
well, I got connections standing right over there.
I hear you.
I think more drivers really do need to take a look at that. One thing that I've noticed, lots of drivers around here, most of them, I would say 95% of them, have quality fire suits.
That's right.
And, what I hate to see is a driver get out of a race car and have on a pair of blue jeans and the top from one of those 99.95 two-piece fire suits. Two-piece fire suit is probably one of the worst things in the world that they ever invented. Because when you're getting out of a race car, there is no way that you can keep all your body covered with a two-piece suit.
Right.
With a one-piece suit, you're covered. You're encapsulated. And even though that fire suit don't protect you forever, it does give you that added little time to get out of that car. Now, one thing I want to ask you: have you ever practiced getting out of your race car?
Yeah.
In a hurry?
Yeah.
Have you ever flipped it upside down and tried to get out?
Nope. Don't want to.
Paul LaPierre, the young man that we had on the show a couple of months ago, he has a rotator car. It's an IMCA modified, and it's on a spit and it rotates. And what he does is he goes around to different events and he puts drivers in the car. And he always asks them the question. He said, "Which way is your car going to land when you roll it, or when you flip, or when you crash?" Because nobody knows that. You never know where your car's. You don't know where it's going to land, much less how it's going to land. And when they shake their head, "Well, I don't know," that's when he hits the switch. He rolls it one way, then the other, then back and forth, then a complete circle. It's always different, and he stops it at odd angles. And then he says, "Get out." and the time it takes to get the driver out. You don't realize how confusing it is and how confused you can be until you've been upside down. And once you roll a car and you get upside down, it messes up your
brain.
What
brain we got?
It messes up your sense of direction. And a lot of people, they don't understand that. And it's one of the things that drivers, I think, need to really look at more, is being able to exit your car quickly. You know, you take some guys, like, I'm not picking on him, but some guys like Jason Welsh, he's a big guy. You know, watching him get out of a car and to think, you know, man, imagine him trying to get out of that car really quick. And then you look at guys like Kyle Courtney, because he's so little, you know, he can just fly out.
Right.
We need to work on these drivers being able to get in and out of their car, because should something happen, God forbid, you need to be able to get out of that car. And if you practice it enough, it becomes second nature, and you'll know what to do. So it's something to look at and mentor younger drivers who come to you and look to you, say, hey, Josh, you know, man, I'm just starting out. Where do I go? What do I do? You've got to start getting these young people involved in the safety program first before you start getting them going fast.
Right. Yeah, that's the first thing that me and Gene worked on when we built my hobby car, was actually being able for me to get in and out of the cockpit as quick as I can. And I never had been in a late model style car, which a hobby car is close enough to it. And that was one thing that me and him really focused on as far as cockpit wise, with me being able to get in and out and my visibility and things like that. And learning from him, and then learning from people like Todd Morrow and Dale and people like that, it just, once they start helping you, and it's like Gene said, the more people that help you, the dirt racing big family, and we all care about each other. We might get over each other's throats and might hate each other one week and one the next. We don't want to see anything happen to any of these drivers. And
I think you know, you look at some of the things you talk about, you know, getting in and out of the car. Gene and I talked about this last night. I think one of the things is lower deck heights. You know, I mean, everybody's wanting that aerodynamic advantage, you know, and people think, well, aerodynamics don't matter in dirt cars. Well, boy, are they ever wrong. You don't believe it, rip that spoiler off and go out there and see what you can do.
Yeah.
But getting the decks down, you know, getting the roof up just a little bit. Yeah, it may hurt you just a little bit on top speed, but I would rather give up a little bit of top speed to be able to get in and out of the car without having to butter myself up, you know, slip and slide in and out. I think that's one of the things that I've seen this year is more drivers are being more proactive about it and taking that approach rather than doing. We have an alarm going off in the parking lot. Can you imagine that? But it's one of the things that I think drivers have done a really good job recently, because, I mean, it is kind of reactive, you know, because some of the things that have happened. Adam Mozella, young man who had the accident at Bakersfield Speedway in California, where his car pierced the fuel, his T-bar pierced the fuel cell of another one. Both cars catch on fire. There was no safety crew at the track. The cars were sitting there burning. This man gets out of his car, runs across the racetrack, gets in the water truck, drives it back over to where the crash is at, where these cars are still burning because there's no safety crew, turns the water on to put out the fire on his own race car, and the water truck was empty. So he sat there and watched his $30,000 race car burn to the ground. And I seen the pictures of it afterwards. The seat that he had in the car was melted and wrapped around the frame rails. They got that hot. The body melted off the car. And, you know, you stop and think about it. If you don't have the proper safety personnel, now like Boyd's has done a really good job this year. They have a fire truck here, plus the paramedics, plus there's a ton of paramedics that hang out and work around here.
They got a worker at every corner as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I look at, is there's always a guy on a four-wheeler at each corner.
Yeah.
And they're there. You get in a wreck, you could barely tap the wall and spin out, and they're there right on the spot. And that, I really commend Boyd Speedway for doing that. And I mean, if people come here and race here, I mean, you'd be amazed at how quick these guys actually get to you when even if there ain't really a whole lot going on.
And they take care of you, you know. I mean, when we've had people, Levon Sparks, who was here a couple of weeks ago when we got rained out. You know, he come on the show the following week, and the one thing he kept telling me, he says, man, he said, I want to say something about this. He said, they give me my money back.
Yeah, and there's not many tracks that do that.
I can't think of any that would. You know, they all are, well, we'll do your rain check, or
right.
we'll give you credit on the next event, you know. But,
if they ever have one.
Yeah, exactly. And they give you your money. It's little things like that that build a racetrack up and make it to what it is, to where people want to come race there.
That's right.
You know, and I think that having a safety crew on hand, having a good racetrack, having facilities, having good cars that show up and race each and every week. Yeah, you got some bumping and banging going on out there, but after all, it is racing, you know. That's what it's all about. And Boyd's has brought all that together. And I think that it's a move in the right direction as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it is a move in the right direction. And I'm hoping that next year we can get out here more and race every week. And I know everybody's money's tight, but we need to get all these people that have race cars, we need to get them out on the racetrack and hopefully bring their families and their friends, and then their friends bring their friends. That way we can build this dirt racing stuff back up, because it's going downhill, and going downhill in a hurry. And I'm just now getting started, and I don't want to quit anytime soon.
Well, you know, you look at David, you know, he's talking about he was 61 years old. He just started his racing career. You know, you're in your 20s, you're getting yours going. That's one of the things that people don't understand, the gamut of race car drivers. You know, you walk through this pits, you've got welders, you've got mechanics, you've got crane operators, pilots. You know, I mean, just about any profession you can think of, you're going to find race car drivers in it, because everybody loves to go fast, and nobody does it better than dirt racing.
Yeah, and like I said, dirt's for racing, asphalt for getting there.
There you go.
I don't mind going
parking lots.
Right, I don't mind going to a NASCAR race every now and then, but I'd rather see a car get sideways every corner than go out here and just hammer down and go away.
You look, pick on NASCAR a second. You look at Martin Truex. His car failed inspection. Now, if you roll through tech over here, right out there at the shed, and you fail inspection, they're going to take your win.
I might as well just go load it up, go to the house, not even worry about it.
You ain't going to get no money.
No.
You ain't going to get your picture took.
No.
You ain't going to get no trophy. You just going to go to the house. But see, that's why dirt racing is better than NASCAR.
I agree.
Because we enforce penalties here. They might not, drivers might not like them.
No, not really.
But we enforce penalties here.
Right.
Well, Josh, man, we're up against a commercial break. I want to thank you for coming on. And, man, I'm excited about next year here at Boyd Speedway. I think there's a lot of things that are moving in the right direction. I think the lowering the average age of the fan will help a lot. And if we get every fan that's in the stands to bring one fan with them, just one, that's all you got to do. You ain't got to invest in $1 million. You ain't got to take out a mortgage on the house. But if you just bring one kid with you, you know, what's it going to cost you to bring a kid to the races? A bag of popcorn, a hot dog? Hell, I'll buy him a corn dog. I bought that young man right there a corn dog the other night. Of course, he had to work for it.
Well, I heard my biggest fan whooping a foot race, so I'm glad he got him a corn dog.
And I heard that he had his boots on. I'm telling you what, I am tickled to death he had his boots on, because he would have beat the brakes slap off of me. And I had tennis shoes on.
Well, I think he knew it was going to get deep, so I think that's why he wore them.
Well, you know, with me, it probably did. It probably would. But it's things like that I look forward to each and every week. I always look for one way to get close to a fan and get them involved more. You know, and I think it's a positive move.
Well, another thing you got to look at is the drivers that got these race cars and they're just sitting in the garage collecting dust. Y'all want local racing to be around for a while? Get the cars out, clean them up, get them ready to go. Come out here to a racetrack. Like I said, bring friends, family, put them in the stands, and this racing stuff will come back alive in a hurry. And I just hope people realize it before it ever gets any worse.
I do too. Well, I tell you what, we're going to jump out here and take a quick commercial break. But thank you, Josh. And, man, you got an open door to the show anytime, because you got the right last name.
I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, exclusively from Boyd's Speedway Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit coopercorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now.
Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
You're listening to the Monday Night Results Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Racing information at its best. And now back to the Doctor of Statistics.
All right. Welcome back. It is the Monday Night Results Show, and we are live from Boyd Speedway. Like I said, we got the football game on the big screen way over yonder at the concession stand. We are in the simulator building where the simulator is usually at. We've pushed it outside. They're out there playing on it, making laps in it, and we're sitting inside here doing the Monday Night Results Show. Joining me right now, young man who has been racing for quite some time in this area. I've watched him at Cleveland. I've watched him at Boyd's. I've watched him at North Georgia, just about everywhere. Driver of the T17, Tommy Gilbert. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Well, you know, I'll ask you the same question we got everybody. What got you started in racing?
Well, my dad actually got me started in racing.
Oh, we're going to blame this on your dad, huh?
Oh, yeah. Actually, if it wasn't for racing, I would not be sitting right here talking to you.
Really?
My dad met my mom at a racetrack in Blue Island, Illinois, some years ago, called Raceway Park.
Uh-huh.
It's a little 1/5 mile bull ring asphalt track. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Well, see, that's how racing, you know, they say families that race together stay together. And, you know, one of the things that was really fun for me coming up here, one of the first races that I announced here at Boyd's, you and your dad started on the front row. And I said, well, one thing about it, I can call Gilbert and Gilbert on the front row, and I don't have to worry about which one's which. What's it like to race with your dad?
It's a dream come true, in all honesty. And especially if I could beat him, that's a career accomplishment for me. But he got me.
Well, you know, I think it's one of the things that when you got family that races, I think it brings you closer together. You know, I've had a lot of guests on the show where their dad helped them out. I had Cruz Skinner, you know, had his dad on. His dad was talking about the bond that they formed working on the race car together, you know, doing things together. Natasha Stokes, or used to be Natasha Stokes, Natasha Davenport now, but her and her dad, Grady Stokes, you know, he started out racing for years and years and years. And then Natasha come along, and she said that, you know, that bond of spending that time working together, the nights at the racetrack, the long nights at home, it gives you a bond that family just can't beat. And you think it makes it stronger?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I've got 4 kids. I have 4 kids. And
Well, I see that you don't race all the time.
well, that's yeah. Well, see, when my kids actually get into arguments of who's going to help me in the garage, and I love it because whoever doesn't help me in the garage, they're out helping Papa, my dad. And that's when I was a kid, you couldn't get me out of the garage. I would literally have to be drug out of the garage, kicking and screaming and crying, to have to go in to go to bed to go to school the next day because I did not want to get out of that garage helping my daddy on that race car.
Well, you know, Gene and I were talking the other night, and we were talking about, you know, when we were kids, when Gene and I were kids, you know, we were gearheads, you know. And one of the things that got me was when I was in school, I got in more trouble because, not for not turning in homework, because I sat in school and drawed race cars all the time.
I know.
That's what I'd done, you know, race cars. That's all I could think about. And as I got older, you know, it just kind of morphed into working on race cars and helping guys with race cars and driving race cars. And then when I kind of moved out of that, I kind of went out on top because that man right there, me and him got 2 back-to-back championships at North Georgia Speedway. But I kind of went out on top, and I went to working for the racetrack. And it was a big step, you know, from being on that side of the fence to coming on this side of the fence. And I think that has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I think I'm still close enough to that side of the fence that I can kind of work as a go-between, you know, and I can kind of help drivers understand the promoter's standpoint, and I kind of help the promoters understand the driver's standpoint, you know, because there is a big bridge there, and we got to keep that bridge open so that everybody is on the same page and working for the betterment of the sport. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree completely. I've been in that same situation. I worked a couple of years at Cleveland instead of racing when my wife was sick, and you see a whole nother side of the racing that goes on, and how crazy and how laid back, and just there's so many emotions that go on, and it, you know, not just from just the drivers, but being part of the crew for the track.
Do you feel that, you know, in your time in racing, what is one of the things from a safety standpoint that you have seen that you feel is one of the best improvements that you've seen as far as racing goes?
It would have to be the head neck restraint. It would have to be that. You and I talked the other night about that, and you kind of got me, but
yeah, I have to out him. When I mentioned earlier, I said I talked with a driver the other night who said he couldn't. He said, I wish they would make seats and helmets more affordable for us poor boys. And he said, it's hard to afford it. And I said, well, can you afford not to? And you know, with 4 kids, Tom,
yeah.
You know, you've got 4 kids to go home to.
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing that as a promoter or an official at a racetrack, there's nothing that I would hate worse than having to go tell a little 5-year-old or a little 6-year-old or a 10-year-old that I didn't have the right equipment or I was too cheap to get a safety crew out here, and I couldn't save their daddy's life.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine having to do that.
Yeah.
And from a promoter standpoint, that is an obstacle that they face each and every day. That's one of the reasons that I say we need to get drivers more proactive in safety. Now, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Josh. You wear gloves?
I bought a brand new set this year.
Well, good for you. I'm tickled to death to hear that.
I've never raced without gloves. I actually, of course, you'll out me on this because I wore a pair of mechanics gloves one of my first years racing, and I was running a front-wheel drive car, and I was at Cleveland, and a huge rock came up out of the track, and it disintegrated one of my knuckles. And granted, that helped me just to realize, hey, I could put screen in front of there to help that prevent that from happening. But I've never ever raced without gloves. Never. I always wear a suit, my gloves, helmet. I've got the headrests on my seats, and I always keep up to date on my belts and stuff like that. And it's time to replace my suit, my helmet and stuff. But this off season, me and my wife, we've been talking about it already. We're gonna do a lot of updating as far as my safety equipment stuff goes, because like you said, I don't want to have to put that pressure on somebody to go tell my wife and kids that lack of safety is what killed their daddy or their husband. So I want to go home to my kids and my wife every night.
Well, Tommy, I'd much rather call you home to Victory Lane than I had to have to call your wife to tell her you didn't make it.
Oh yeah, and hopefully soon you'll be calling me home to Victory Lane.
Well, I'm telling you, man, you've had some struggles going here lately, but man, you have been on a roll too. You've really come around in that car.
For a car that I thought was junk when I bought it, it's really turned around, and I can't thank Booger Brooks enough for that. He's helped me out a good deal. He's a good friend of mine, and just being the driver I am and proving it to myself. I've heard it from other people that I'm a pretty decent driver, but proving it to myself after seeing my car in the scales, that's yeah.
Well, I talked to Booger last night, and I was trying to get him to come on the show tonight. He said he was busy because he had to cram 2 weeks worth of work into 4 days. He's getting ready for the state race. And Booger, I know you're listening. We want to wish you luck, buddy. Best of luck. Go get them. And, there's a lot of drivers out here who have people like Booger Brooks and Gene Dover who have somebody to go to for advice and for setup work. It makes you feel better knowing that you're dialed in when you roll out there on that racetrack, don't it?
Oh, yeah. And see, the bad thing is I'm older than he is.
Well, age is just a number.
That's all it is.
Look at me and Duplissey. I mean, we're older than dirt, and we're still out here plugging away.
Hey, check out my dad. My dad's 58 years old.
See?
Okay, and he's been poking around at my car. But see, my dad, he's been racing since 1978.
Uh-huh.
But it's all been asphalt. He ran 2 seasons on dirt up north, but he's an asphalt man. He loves that asphalt racing, and we're actually going to an asphalt race come October. It's a race we always go to in Rockford, Illinois. It's at Rockford Speedway.
Yep,
it's
been
called
there.
Bahama Bracket Nationals.
Yep.
It's the 4 days of nothing but racing, basically. Seeing.
Y'all went up there last year, didn't you?
Went up there last year, the year before that. I actually 2010, I brought my championship front wheel drive car that I won a championship out here with in 2011. I brought it up there, and I almost had to run with the big cars because my car was so fast up there. And it's a really, really fun time. And I think more of it's just the bonding that I get to do with my dad while we go up there, because it's just me and him. No offense to my wife or kids, but I'm a daddy's boy.
Well, that father-son time, that's valuable.
Oh yeah, very.
It is, and it's something that they always say: families that race together stay together.
Yep.
And as long as you're involved in racing, you ain't got no money for nothing else. So.
Nope. Nope.
Hey, you can sit at home and eat cold corn dog.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy, we're up against a commercial break. I want to thank you for sitting in with me. And man, I look forward to calling your name out in Victory Lane here real soon.
I hope if I can run Booger down and we can have a good clean race and I can get the upper hand, I think we can do that. But,
well, I tell you what, you're well on your way. All right, we're getting ready to roll up against our last segment is coming up. We're gonna get the man with the plan over here in just a few minutes, Mr. Kenny Slayton, and we're gonna talk a little bit and give people kind of a behind the scenes look at what it takes each and every week to swing the gates on a racetrack. People probably don't realize just how much is involved and some of the things that has to go on and has to happen each and every week in order to make a racetrack function and function like it should. So we'll be cluing you in on that here in just a few minutes. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively from Boyd Speedway tonight, live right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network. Your source for motorsports.
Flag-to-flag coverage? We don't need no stinking flag-to-flag coverage. The results, and nothing but the results. Now back to the doctor.
All right, welcome back. It's the Monday Night Results Show as we roll into our last segment. Joining me right now, the man who is really behind the scenes more than a lot of people know, Mr. Kenny Slayton. How you doing tonight, Kenny?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Man, I'm finding a frog hair split three ways and sanded. But now, Kenny, I want you to kind of clue the people in a little bit on some of the things that has to happen before you even start thinking about racing on a Saturday night.
Well, actually, if you have a race event, we actually start prepping, getting ready for the race on Wednesday, and then it comes Thursday, we start digging the track up, and it takes about right close to 50,000 gallons of water on the racetrack. And the way the weather's been here lately, we have to start digging it probably Thursday afternoon, and then you start putting water on it at night, and then come Friday morning, you got to start putting water on it again, and you plow it again, and you start putting more water on it, and you got to keep water on it until Saturday about 3 o'clock. And by that time, you got 50,000 gallons of water on the track, and it sits there, and you let it sit there until about 5 o'clock, and then you start packing it in. In the meantime, you're on your cell phone, looking at the weather, making sure that it's not going to rain, because the rainstorm's coming, and of course, you got too much water on the track, and then the fans are not going to come because they can see rain, but the drivers, they'll always show up, whether it's going to rain or not. And we just had that this past weekend. I think we had 84 cars, something like that. And we had about 370 fans in the stands, but that front that was coming, we were scared we were going to have to call it again. We've been rained out 4 times, I think, this year, but luckily the Lord let us get it in, and we had a good show.
Well, you know, if you start using my radar, you know, me and you was standing over at the concession stand, and Kenny says, you know, I think we're going to have a little bitty sprinkle come through here about 6 o'clock. I looked at my radar, and I said, we're good to race. Let's go. And I'm batting 1,000 on my weather predicting. So I'm thinking about giving up my day job, working on doors, and becoming a weatherman.
Well, I'll tell you what, David's sitting right over here. He's the money man. And I think he'd like to play that odds against you when it comes to race day. Because from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, me, Gene, Chad, David, we're texting each other, we're calling each other. What's it going to do? What's it going to do? Do we call it? Do we go? We all want to race. If it was up to David, we'd race on Friday and Saturday. But you know, you got to play the cards, and we got too much water on the track, and it's going to rain, and you're going to lose your track, and then you're really in trouble. But the Lord blessed us, and we got our race in this past week.
Well, now, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, and, you know, they just take it for granted that when they show up at Boyd's and they pay their money to get in the front gate, they come around here and they find their seat, and they say, well, you know, I think I'll go get me a hamburger. They go to the concession stand, they just kind of take it for granted that there's always going to be nachos and hamburgers and hot dogs and dollar corn dogs and everything there. There's a lot of planning that goes into this to make an event and to be prepared for it, such as food. I mean, just one thing is just food. That's a major ordeal, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Actually, you know, whether I'm letting the cat out of the bag or not, it takes about $17,000 to put on an event. And that's all the way from food. We happen to have David and Dale as the owner, and our paychecks are already in envelopes before we even come to the racetrack. There's certain racetracks that scramble once people start coming in, they go collect money and they go fill the envelopes and all that stuff. We already have it down to a science to where the paycheck's done, all the drivers pay, all the employees pay, it's all there, and it's 17 grand. So at the end of the night, you hope that you have 500 people in the stands and 500 people in the pits, and you got 80 cars, and at the end of the night, when you add up all your marbles, you hope you got more than 17 grand. And here lately, we've been coming up $1,500 short, and it's coming out of David's pocket. Not only does he come and race, but when it comes Monday and they count the money, he's got to come up with $1,500 to make it purse back for the next time we do an event. So that's why it's always iffy about whether you race or whether you don't, how much you charge for admission, how much you charge for the drivers to get in the pits. Because in reality, if the $1,500 this last event, if we lost $1,500, if we charged five more dollars for everybody to get in the pits and $2 more for everybody to get in the grandstands, we'd have broke even. But we're trying to keep the prices down. I keep doing a dollar hot dog and a dollar corn dog. Well, I'm giving away $1. We sell 800 corn dogs or hot dogs. Well, I gave away $800. But then at the end of the night, you wish you had that $800 back. But it's all about getting people to the racetrack. This facility here is the best. We just came back from Eldora on a 4-day deal. We took the simulator car and supporting Dell and advertising for Boyd Speedway. And this track here is as nice as Eldora. I've been to a lot of tracks, but we have the nicest facility. We got air conditioned bathrooms. I think we're sitting on like 21 toilets. As far as safety goes, we got 32 fire extinguishers around the property. We got like 9 TVs. We've got 7 computers. I can tell you anything you want to know. We've got it here. And it's all about people coming to the racetrack and seeing what David has created here, because it is top notch, first class. And we try to make sure everybody's happy when they leave.
Well, you know, I think one of the things that David touched on it earlier is making a family-friendly atmosphere. And when you have a facility like this, you know, a lot of times some racetracks, it's like, you know, the Friday or Saturday afternoon, the dad of the family looks around and he says, well, I think we can go to the races this evening. And he looks at his wife and he says, sweetheart, now what do you think about going to the races? Oh, heck no, I ain't going to them stinking bathrooms. I ain't going in them things. But when you've got a place like this, it's easier to convince the wife, or some husbands, you know, depending on the case. It's easier to make it a family event when you have a facility that's this nice and caters to the family as this track does. And when you can get the whole family to go, they bring along the little young ones and the little ones that get out there and do foot races with the stupid announcer. You know, the little ones that get out there and spend time watching these cars go round and round and round. That gets them hooked. And, you know, I heard it said a long time ago, racing, a disease for which there is no cure. And once you get that disease, once you get bit by that bug real hard. You look at David Duplissey. Look at what happened to him. He got bit by that bug at an early age. It took him a while, but he come around and he brought it in and put a program together that is family friendly, it's competitive, it's nice, and it's someplace that you want to take people to go see a race. And that's what the nature of the sport is bringing in the families, bringing in the young people, bringing in new fans. I mean, if you think if every person in the stands brought one extra person with them every week that has never seen a race, that would open their eyes. Yeah, you figure if you got 350 people, if everybody brought an extra fan, say half the people brought an extra fan, that's an extra 150 people. Now, out of that 150 people, if you figure, say 50% of them enjoyed it, that's an extra 75 people that's going to be coming back the following week. So it kind of takes a village to run a racetrack. To get all the people in there, get more people in there, everybody has to work together. Not just the drivers and the crew at the racetrack, but the fans too, to help spread the word about a sport. Like we said a while ago, there's a lot of people in Chattanooga, Tennessee that don't know that Boyd Speedway is here.
No, they don't. I mean, I know everybody knows where the drag strip is, but as far as the racetrack, they're like, what are you talking about? So you pass the racetrack to get to the drag strip.
Yeah.
And, something that was cool this past weekend is Gene, drove the fun bus, and he was just supposed to make laps on the racetrack. Well, the next thing I know, I'm trying to take care of business, and I see Gene going through the pits with the fun bus. He's taking fans to the drivers' cars.
Yeah.
So he's taking them in the pits. They get to see what's going on at the haulers, what's going on before the event. And, hats off to Gene. He did a great job. He really revs that motor up on that bus and makes them think they're running 100. And it's really exciting. I had a couple of people come up to me and was like, that was the biggest thrill they ever had was riding in the fun bus.
Well, really and truly, now Gene's still sitting over here. He's kicked back, got his feet propped up. Gene, I really think we need to get Kenny on the fun bus next week, because apparently he has a misconception of what goes on the fun bus.
No, I've been on the fun bus before, and I was kidding Gene last week. We were going to get him a driving suit and a helmet.
There you go. Well, when we took the tour, we get the drivers to come on the bus, let the fans ask them questions. Some of these drivers, they really just flock to it. I mean, some of them are just naturals at it. Then you get some of them like young man AJ Carlisi. He's real quiet, real easygoing, real humble. To get him to talk, you just about have to pry it out of him or build a fire under it. Then you get some drivers like Robbie Mason. He jumps on there and boy, he's just wide open like a case knife. Bobby Ritchie Jr., he walks on the bus the other day handing out autograph cards. The drivers are thriving on this. They're loving it. We got David Duplissey on the fun bus this past week, and he actually went for a ride.
Don't let him drive it, though.
Well, he kept wanting to drive, and Gene wouldn't let him. So,
yeah, that's right. David will get it sideways for him. We don't need that.
Gene got the mirror up against the wall, so, I ain't going to say nothing, but, it's that kind of involvement that the track has with the fans that makes it attractive. We watch the people get off the fun bus down here at the start-finish line every week, and I have yet to see anybody get off the fun bus that wasn't grinning from ear to ear with a smile that Ajax wouldn't take off.
No, they might be holding their heart, but they'll be all right.
Well, the thing is, they get to see that up close and personal. There was a little boy on there, Eli was his name. I remember because I have a son named Eli myself. He was on there this past Saturday night, first round, and he didn't talk very much, but the one thing that he kept saying was, race car, race car. And every time we would stop in the pits, race car, race car. And this kid was so excited. His mom said that was the first time he had ever been to a race. And I asked him, I said, well, you going to come back? Race car, race car. And his mom says, oh, yeah, we're going to bring him back. We'll be regulars here now.
Yeah, as far as the kids and the excitement and stuff that's going on, the people that don't know is the sponsorship here at Boyd Speedway is not that hard to get. They can contact me or Dale or David. To give you an example, let's say we're paying $1,000 a win for steelheads one night. If you own AutoZone or a car wash and you want to be the talk of the night, if you'll just pay the winning purse, $1,000, we'll pay the rest. And we'll turn it into your event that night. You know, the simulator car is fun. The guys from Cosmetic Gaskets, they were here a couple weeks ago when Ty was here. Ty sat exactly where we're sitting right now. We had an autograph session. But those guys came down afterwards on the simulator car, and they had a blast. And, you know, we have suites. They have air conditioning. We've got it set up where you can watch, just like our last event. On Saturday, I had the Alabama football game. When it went off, I flipped it over to the Georgia football game. We had both suites that will hold 15 people. That's, you know, 30 people could sit in the air conditioning, watch dirt track racing, watch the live scoring of the racing, and watch the football game. You can't get that anywhere that I've seen except for Eldora.
And also, the simulator car is mobile. It is
yeah.
available. If you have a special event and you would like to get the simulator, I mean, they drug it all the way to Eldora.
Yep.
So, you know, what's to keep them from dragging it around here to an event?
Talk about Dale Earnhardt Sr. You know, here I am. I'm there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And people at Eldora, they get a couple of Michelob Ultras, Bud Lights in them. They're all Dale Earnhardt Seniors. They could all do it. They all got money, and they all bet against each other, and they're all trying to be a dirt track driver. And that's really the fun entertainment me and my son ran in, and it was exciting. I mean, I put in like 56 hours at the car for the 4 days, but met a lot of people. A lot of people know about Boyd Speedway. They've enjoyed the simulator car. I have 200 tracks I can put on this car. I can go to any track and put that track on the car. You know, the people that have drove my, not the simulator car, but the software itself. I mean, if you go back to the Target guy, what's his name? Larson. He used to run it. Sammy Swindell's son, Derek Ellis, has run it. Chase Elliott has run it. And this is all running online. And what they're learning is how to be repetitive. You do the same thing every lap. If it works, then that's what you're learning. And it's fun and excitement and gives somebody the thrill. And that's because of David Duplissey. He wanted one of those simulator cars. I hooked him up with a guy that could build it, and we got together and we designed one. We have a 2015 model. I felt good being at Eldora. The guy to the left of me had a 2004 model. The guy to the right had a 2006, and we're sitting there with a 2015 model simulator car. We had more rides. My line stayed busy because everybody wants to run something new, and they don't want to sit in the car and hold it wide open. So it was fun.
Well, tell us real quick. We're getting ready to get out of here. Give us a phone number, whether if they want to rent the simulator car or have you come out, how they can get a hold of you.
They can do 423-421-2104, or I'm actually the guy that controls Boyd Speedway Facebook, and there is a Boyd Speedway Simulator Dirt Car Facebook. Message me and we'll get together and find out where you're at and what day you need it and how far I got to go, and we'll work out a deal.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. We're looking at a whole lot of dark out there. We're going to step out of here. I want to thank each and every one of them: Gene Dover, David Duplissey, Kenny Slayton, Tommy Gilbert, Josh Walker, everybody that come on the show tonight, Bill Blair. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on, and I want to thank Boyd Speedway for hosting this event. And who knows, maybe we'll do this again sometime. But it's been the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, live from Boyd Speedway and exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya!
Y'all ready for this? The Monday Night Results Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN SN, or Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., the advertisers, or the marketing partners. If you would like to hear the results from your local track, or you are a track owner or a promoter and want us to cover your venue, give us a call during normal business hours, 717-749-0444. IM us on our Facebook page or email us at performancemotorsportsnetwork@gmail.com. Be listening again next week as we are talking results on the Monday Night Results Show with the Doctor. For the Monday Night Results Show, I'm Big Mike.